Have you ever wondered what Europe looks like beyond the busy cities and famous landmarks? Not the crowded streets of Paris or Rome, but the secret places that most travelers never find. In this video, we're going to take you on a journey across hidden corners of Europe, from quiet mountain towns to secret islands in the sea, to ancient villages lost in time and beautiful nature that feels almost untouched. These are places where life still feels real and calm, where locals often outnumber tourists, and where you can discover something special and surprising that many people never see. Some of these spots have hidden waterfalls, some have old stone castles, and others are peaceful beaches and forests that seem like they belong in a storybook. You won't find big tour buses here, just real beauty, real traditions, and real adventures waiting to be found. So get ready, because this is the ultimate countdown of Europe's best hidden gems. Starting from number 30 and going all the way to the most breathtaking secret place at number 1. Let's begin. Number 30. Lot-et-Garonne, France. Imagine a place in France where life moves slowly, a place with big green fields, rows of grapevines, and old stone villages that feel like they came from a storybook. That's Lot-et-Garonne. This region is not full of big crowds. Most people don't know about it, so you get to see real France. Calm towns, lazy rivers, and quiet roads that look perfect for bike rides. Here, you can walk through small medieval villages with old houses and narrow streets. You'll see castles from long ago, like Château de Bonneguil and Château de Duras, standing tall on hills, telling the stories of the past. In towns like Villeneuve-sur-Lot, you can wander beside the river, see ancient bridges and historic streets, and feel like you have stepped back in time. It's the kind of place where people talk slowly, eat delicious local food, enjoy the sun on the fields, and live life without rushing. You won't find big tour buses here, just peace, history, and surprising beauty. Number 29. Monflanquin Village, France. Now we go to a very old village called Monflanquin. This place sits on top of a hill in France, so when you arrive, you can see the whole countryside below you. Monflanquin was built a very long time ago, in the year 1256, as a special kind of town called a bastide. That means it was planned with straight streets and a big center square, instead of just growing randomly like some old towns. When you walk inside this village, it feels like you are walking back in time. The houses are made of old stones, the streets are narrow, and the center has big arches around it where people used to trade goods and gather. In the middle of the village is the Place des Arcades, the heart of the town, where long ago people sold food and talked with friends. There is also an old church and some very old houses, including one people call the House of the Black Prince. This name comes from a prince who may have stayed here a long time ago. Today, Monflanquin is still calm and peaceful. You won't see huge crowds, just quiet streets, friendly locals, and history all around you. That's why this hidden hilltop village is so special. It feels like a beautiful secret that time forgot. Number 28. Costa de la Luz, Spain. Now we are going to a very special coast in Spain called Costa de la Luz. In Spanish, that means Coast of Light. It is on the Atlantic Ocean, not the usual Mediterranean Sea most tourists go to. This place is famous for its long, wide beaches with golden sand and big open sea waves from the Atlantic Ocean. You can walk for a long time on these beaches without seeing many people. That makes it calm and beautiful, not crowded like other famous beaches in Spain. Costa de la Luz is full of quiet little towns and white houses near the sea. These towns feel real and calm because not many tourists go there. Instead, you see local people living normal lives, kids playing on the beach, and fishermen bringing fresh fish to the shore. Here, you can do things like watch the sunset on the beach, learn to surf on the big Atlantic waves, or just walk on the sand and listen to the ocean. It's a place where you can relax, feel the wind, and enjoy nature without loud crowds or busy streets. Unlike the busier Costa del Sol, Costa de la Luz feels more peaceful, more natural, and more real. That's why it's one of the hidden places in Europe most travelers never find, but should. Number 27. Viseu and Peneda-Gerês, northern Portugal. Now we travel to northern Portugal, to two very different but beautiful places, the city of Viseu and the wild Peneda-Gerês National Park. First, Viseu is a calm city with old streets, rivers, and hills all around it. It's not a busy beach town or big city, so most travelers don't stop here, but it has its own charm and history. But the real hidden wonder is Peneda-Gerês, the only big national park in Portugal. It's full of tall mountains, deep forests, cool rivers, and jumping waterfalls. Peneda-Gerês feels like a world of nature that hardly anyone visits. There are quiet forest paths, rocky canyons, and places where rivers make natural pools for swimming and playing. Walk through this park, and you might see small wild horses, deer, and many birds, and you can hear the water running over stones for miles. In this region, people still live in tiny old villages with stone houses, and every summer they keep their traditions alive just like long ago. This part of Portugal is far from big crowds, with real nature and local life instead of busy tourist spots. That's why it's one of the secret places in Europe most travelers never find, but should. Number 26. Bosa, Italy. Now let's talk about a beautiful hidden place in Italy called Bosa. This town is on the west coast of Sardinia, and it sits right next to the Temo River, which is the only river in Sardinia that boats can use. When you first see Bosa, you might think it looks like a picture from a storybook. The houses are bright and colorful, stacked on the hillside like rainbow blocks. The river flows slowly through town, and there's an old stone bridge that connects both sides. High above the town sits the Malaspina Castle, a very old fortress built hundreds of years ago. From up there, you can see all of Bosa, the river and the hills around it. It feels like you are on top of the world. Slowly and reflectively, the streets in the old town are narrow and made of stones, and as you walk through them, you can feel the history all around you. Most people don't visit Bosa, so it stays quiet, calm, and full of real local life. Just a little bit away is Bosa Marina, a peaceful seaside area with a beach where you can relax and listen to the waves. Bosa feels special because it mixes history, color, river views, and seaside calm all in one place, and most travelers never even hear about it. Number 25. Nesso, Italy, Lake Como. Now let's visit a tiny, beautiful village called Nesso. It sits on the shores of Lake Como in northern Italy, one of the most stunning lakes in the world. Nesso is special because it has something you don't see in many places, a deep rocky gorge with a big waterfall called the Orido di Nesso. This is where two streams crash together and fall down between huge rocks into the lake below. It makes a loud, strong rush of water that feels amazing to watch. The waterfall cuts right through the village, and there's an old stone bridge called Ponte della Civera that crosses over it. From the bridge, you get one of the best views of the falling water and the lake beyond. When you walk around Nesso, you'll see small stone houses, narrow streets, and steps leading down toward the water. It feels peaceful and old-fashioned, like a place that time forgot. Because not many travelers know about Nesso, it's quiet and real, no big tourist crowds here. You can stand by the waterfall, smell the fresh lake air, and hear the water rushing through the gorge. This hidden village with its waterfall, old bridge, and scenic lake views makes it one of the most beautiful secret spots on Lake Como, a place worth discovering on any Europe trip. Number 24. Corvo Island, Azores. Now we travel to a very tiny island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean called Corvo. It's the smallest island in the Azores, with only about 400 people living there, so it feels far away and very calm. Corvo was made by volcanoes long ago. In the very center of the island is a big volcano crater called Calderon. Inside that crater are green fields and a deep lake, and it looks like something from a fairy tale or dream. The island has only one small town called Vila de Corvo. The houses are close together and the streets are quiet and narrow. Because so few people live here and hardly any visitors come, it feels like a secret place in nature. Around the island, you can see high cliffs, strong ocean waves, and green hills that seem untouched by crowds. You can walk up to lookouts where you see the sea all around and even spot birds flying over the water. There's also a small black sand beach where you can relax and hear the waves crash gently. Everything here feels calm, quiet, and very pure, like nature was never disturbed. Because Corvo is so remote and small, very few travelers ever find it. But that is what makes it special and beautiful, a hidden gem in Europe that feels untouched and magical. Number 23. Albarracín, Spain. Now let's visit one of Spain's most beautiful hidden villages called Albarracín. This place looks like it came straight out of a fairy tale book. Albarracín is built high on a rocky hill and it sits beside the Guadalquivir River. The whole town has old stone walls that go all around it like a castle. When you walk inside the village, you see narrow, twisting streets and houses painted in pink and red colors. The color comes from the special stone used long ago, and when the sun shines, the whole town glows warmly. Albarracín feels very old and quiet, like time stopped here. The streets are made of cobbles, and many houses look like they were built hundreds of years ago. In the middle of town is the Plaza Mayor, a small square where people can meet, relax, and enjoy the view. You can also see old fortress walls and towers that used to protect the village long ago. Because Albarracín is a bit hidden in the mountains and not easy to reach, not many travelers find it. That's what makes it extra special. A peaceful, real, and beautiful place that feels like a secret no one told you about. Number 22. Blagaj on Buna, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Now we travel to a small, quiet village in Bosnia and Herzegovina called Blagaj. This place is not crowded, but it's one of the most beautiful hidden spots in Europe. The most magical thing here is a very old monastery that stands right next to a river and under a big cliff. This monastery is called a tequila. It's a special place where dervish monks lived and prayed. It was built about 500 years ago by people looking for peace and calm. The monastery sits at the very beginning of the Buna River, where the water comes out of a cave in the rock. The water is clear and cold, and it flows slowly past the monastery toward the big Neretva River. When you walk here, you see tall cliffs rising high above you, and the river water shines in bright blue and green colors. It feels like a fairy tale place, calm and quiet, with birds flying and the water gently moving. You can stand by the riverside and listen to the sound of the water, or walk up a little path to get a great view of the whole scene. Because not many travelers come here, it feels real and peaceful, like a secret that only a few people know about. Blagaj teaches you that some of the most beautiful places in Europe aren't big cities or famous landmarks. They are quiet corners where nature and history meet. Number 21. Rupit, Catalonia, Spain. Now let's go to a small, old mountain village in Spain called Rupit. This place feels like something from a storybook, with stone houses, crooked streets, and nature all around you. Rupit sits high in the mountains of Catalonia, and when you arrive, you often have to walk across a wooden hanging bridge over a small river just to get into the village. Once inside, everything feels very old. The streets are made of cobblestones, and the houses are built from stone, like they were put there hundreds of years ago. As you walk, you might feel like you stepped back in time because the village hasn't changed much over the years. Just outside Rupit, there are waterfalls and forests where rivers fall down the rocks and make cool splashes. One famous waterfall nearby is called Salt du Salent. It's very tall and looks amazing when the water rushes down. People come here to walk around, see the old stone village, and enjoy nature that feels quiet and real. Because it's a bit hidden in the mountains, not many travelers find it, which makes it a special place to discover. Rupit is a perfect mix of history, nature, and peace, a place where you can feel like you are in a real medieval adventure. Number 20. Tavira, Portugal. Now we come to Tavira, a calm and beautiful town in southern Portugal. It sits in a part of the country called the Algarve. But unlike the busy resort towns, Tavira stays peaceful and real. Tavira is built along the Guilhau River, and the streets are full of old white buildings, tiny squares, and cobblestone lanes that feel very historic. You can walk slowly, stop for a drink at a cafe, and watch life go by. Just a short ride from the town is Ilha de Tavira, a long island beach with golden sand and calm blue water. You can take a small ferry boat from Tavira to this beach and walk along the sea, build sand castles, or just relax in the sunshine. Because Tavira is not filled with big hotels or many tourists like other Algarve towns, it stays quiet and friendly. You can explore old history, see birds near the water, and find beaches where you almost feel alone if you walk far enough. This town has real local character. People sell fresh fish, local food, and handmade salt, and the slow pace makes it perfect for anyone who wants to feel like a traveler, not just a tourist. Tavira might not be famous like some big beach cities, but that is exactly why it feels special. Calm, beautiful, and truly Portuguese. Number 19. Tomar, Portugal. Now we go to Tomar, a small, quiet town in Portugal that most travelers don't know about, but it has a very old and amazing story. Tomar was founded by the Knights Templar, a group of warriors and monks from long, long ago. These knights were famous for their bravery and for protecting people on long journeys. High on a hill in Tomar, you can see the Convent of Christ, a giant old building that used to be the Templars' main home. It was started in the 1100s, so it is over 800 years old. When you walk around the ancient streets of Tomar, you can see old stone buildings, old walls, and places where knights once lived and worked. The town feels quiet and peaceful, like a place that time forgot. The river Naboun flows through the town, and there are old bridges and shady paths where you can walk and imagine how life was long ago. Tomar isn't full of big tourist crowds like Lisbon or Porto. That's why it still feels real, calm, and full of history that most travelers never find. This hidden gem teaches us that some of the most interesting places in Europe are the ones with ancient stories and quiet streets. Number 18. Brisighella, Italy. Now let's visit a special hidden town in Italy called Brisighella. This place feels like a medieval story come to life. Calm, beautiful, and real, not crowded with tourists. Brisighella sits on green hills in northern Italy in a region called Emilia-Romagna. It looks like a small stone village with narrow streets, old houses, and hills all around. When you walk through Brisighella, you feel like you have gone back in time. There are ancient walls, a castle up on a hill, and a tall clock tower that stand over the town. One of the coolest parts of Brisighella is a street called Via degli Asini, or Donkey's Alley. Long ago, people used this covered street to move goods with donkeys. Today, it is a fun place to walk and imagine life long ago. All around the town, you see vineyards and olive trees, and you can smell fresh bread, local cheese, and olive oil as you wander the quiet lanes. Because Brisighella is small and not full of tourists, everything feels calm and real. You meet friendly locals, share food at cozy cafes, and discover little corners full of history. Brisighella is one of those places where you can slow down, enjoy simple moments, and feel like you're exploring a secret town that most travelers miss. A true hidden gem in Italy. Number 17. Sibiu, Romania. Now we go to Sibiu, a beautiful old city in Romania that most travelers miss when they go straight to bigger places like Bucharest or Transylvania's most famous spots. Sibiu feels real, calm, and full of history. Sibiu was built over 900 years ago by people called Saxon settlers who came from Germany. These settlers made the city strong and built many old stone buildings, wide squares, and cobblestone streets. When you walk through the old town, you see houses with funny little windows that look like eyes, old towers, and big stone walls that once protected the city long ago. In the main square, called Piazza Mara, people used to meet, trade, and talk. Today, it still feels alive, with small cafes and open space where you can sit and enjoy the view. One famous spot is the Bridge of Lies, an old bridge with stories that say if you told a lie there, the bridge would shake. You can also climb the council tower and look over the whole city from the top. From there, you can see rooftops, the river, and even hills in the distance. Because Sibiu has real history, big open squares, and calm old streets, it feels like a secret gem in Europe, full of stories, but not swamped with crowds. Number 16. Valdoviño, Spain. Now we travel to Valdoviño, a beautiful coastal town in northern Spain on the Atlantic Ocean. This place is far from big cities and busy tourist spots, so it feels wild, calm, and real. Valdoviño has long, sandy beaches where the Atlantic waves roll in all day. Some beaches, like Pantin and Vilarrubé, are famous for surfing and big ocean views. Because the beaches are wide and open, you can walk for a long time on the sand, listen to the waves, and feel the fresh sea breeze. The skies here look very dramatic, sometimes dark with clouds, and sometimes bright blue with the sun shining on the ocean. The land around Valdoviño is natural and green, with cliffs, forests, and paths that you can walk along to see the sea from high above. People who love nature and calm places will enjoy Valdoviño because it has real local life, quiet beaches, and wild sea views, not loud music, big crowds, or lots of tourists. Valdoviño is one of those hidden European gems where you can feel the power of the Atlantic waves and explore nature without crowds. A peaceful, beautiful place most travelers never find. Number 15. Villajoyosa, Spain, Costa Blanca. Now let's visit a very pretty seaside town in Spain called Villajoyosa, which means the joyful town. It sits on the Costa Blanca, the white coast of Spain near the sea. Villajoyosa looks special because the houses by the sea are painted in many bright colors: red, yellow, blue, and green. These colors make the town look like a living rainbow next to the water, and that's one reason people call it one of Europe's best hidden gems. Long ago, the houses were painted bright so fishermen could see their homes from far out at sea. That tradition stayed and now makes the town happy and unique. Villajoyosa has wide, sandy beaches with calm blue water, perfect for walking, swimming, or just listening to the waves. Some beaches, like Playa Centro, stretch for a long way along the coast. Curious and intimate, the old streets are narrow and full of history, and you can find tiny shops, local cafes, and quiet places to relax. When you walk around, it feels like you are discovering a real Spanish town that many travelers don't know about yet. Because Villajoyosa is not crowded like big tourist cities and feels calm and beautiful, it's one of the hidden places in Europe that most travelers never find, but should. Number 14. Ithaca, Greece. Now we go to a quiet and magical island in Greece called Ithaca. This island is world famous in old stories because it was said to be the home of Odysseus, a brave hero from the Odyssey, a very old and famous Greek tale. Ithaca lies in the Ionian Sea and is calm and peaceful, not full of big crowds like some other Greek islands. The island has hidden coves, small beaches, and clear blue water where you can swim or just watch the sea sparkle in the sun. Ithaca is also full of traditional villages, places like Vathi, Chioni, and Freaks, where the houses are old, the streets are quiet, and the people are friendly. Some coves and beaches are only easy to reach by boat or short walk, so they stay quiet and almost secret. When you walk around this island, you feel like you are part of a story. You can explore old paths through hills and olive trees, listen to the sound of the sea, and see small harbors with boats tied up. Most travelers rush to bigger Greek places, so Ithaca stays calm, real, and beautiful, a secret island full of nature, legends, and old-time Greek life that most people never find. Number 13. Bad Gastein, Austria. Now we go to a very special mountain town in Austria called Bad Gastein, a hidden place where nature, water, and old-world charm meet in the Alps. Bad Gastein sits high in the mountains, in a valley surrounded by tall peaks and forests. The town grew around natural hot springs, warm water that comes from deep underground, and people have used it for healing and relaxing for hundreds of years. What makes Bad Gastein unforgettable is a big waterfall that runs right through the middle of the town. The water drops down the rocks in many steps and makes a loud, rushing sound, and you can walk right up close to it as you explore the streets. The town looks like something from an old story. Tall old buildings cling to the hillsides, and snowy peaks rise in the distance above the rooftops. People visit Bad Gastein for many reasons. Some come to relax in warm thermal spas, where the water feels good on tired muscles after a long walk. Others like to hike the mountain trails and see views that stretch for miles. In winter, the mountains around Bad Gastein become a snowy wonderland with ski slopes for all ages. But even in summer, it's beautiful. Green hills, rushing waterfalls, and fresh mountain air. Bad Gastein isn't a busy city. It's a quiet and dramatic hidden gem where you can feel the power of nature, hear the rush of the waterfall, and see the tall Alps rise all around you. Number 12. Calabria, Italy. Now let's go to a hidden part of southern Italy called Calabria. This region sits at the very tip of Italy's boot, and it's one of the most authentic and real places you can visit, meaning it hasn't been taken over by big crowds of tourists. Calabria has beautiful coastlines and two seas, the Tyrrhenian Sea on one side and the Ionian Sea on the other. That means you get long sandy beaches, clear blue water, and dramatic cliffs that look amazing in the sunlight. But Calabria isn't just about the sea. There are green mountains and forests inland where you can walk trails, see nature, and feel like you're exploring a big outdoor playground. This region also has many small towns and villages where life is slow and relaxed. Most people you meet are locals, not visitors, and you can see how real Italians live far from the busy tourist towns. Food in Calabria is simple and delicious. They cook with fresh ingredients from the land and sea, things like spicy sausages, fresh fish, and tasty vegetables. That makes eating here feel special and real, like sitting down to dinner with a family. Because Calabria doesn't have huge crowds or loud tourist traps, you can enjoy beaches where you almost feel alone, walk through old towns, climb hills for great views, and taste real Italian food that most travelers miss. Calabria is one of those hidden coastal regions in Europe where nature, food, and local life come together, still authentic, calm, and unforgettable. Number 11. Libreria Acqua Alta, Venice, Italy. Now we visit a very unusual bookstore in Venice called Libreria Acqua Alta, which means high water bookstore. It's hidden in a quiet street in Venice and feels like a real treasure that most travelers miss. This bookstore is special because it is built in a city that sometimes floods. Venice has high tides, called Acqua Alta, that make water rise and cover the streets. Instead of closing, this bookshop found a clever and fun way to protect its books. Inside the store, you'll see books stacked everywhere, in bathtubs, rowboats, canoes, and even a gondola. These floating things keep the books safe when water comes in, so they don't get ruined. The shop feels like a maze of stories, tall piles of books, narrow paths, and secret corners to explore. Some visitors say it feels like a wonderland of words. There's also a staircase made of old books you can climb, and if you look carefully, you might even find friendly cats napping on top of the books. Even though it's a small shop tucked into a side street, many people love to visit because it's so different from regular bookstores. It's like a place where Venice's water and history come together with books and imagination. Libreria Acqua Alta isn't just a bookstore. It's a fun, creative, and surprising place that shows how clever people can be when they live with water all around them. Number 10. Znojmo, Czech Republic. Now let's go to a hidden gem in the Czech Republic called Znojmo. This is an old town full of history, pretty streets, and peaceful charm, and most travelers never think to stop here. Znojmo sits in a calm, green wine-growing region in South Moravia. That means the land around it is filled with vineyards where grapes grow, and people make wine here the same way they have for hundreds of years. When you walk into Znojmo's old town, you will see old stone walls, tall church towers, and narrow cobblestone streets that feel like a story from long ago. One special thing here is Znojmo Castle, high on a hill, where you can look out over the whole town and see the river winding through the green countryside. Under the town streets, there's also a big underground maze of old cellars and tunnels that were used long ago for storage and protection. Today, you can go down and explore the cool hidden passageways. Znojmo's central square has beautiful old houses around it, and the Church of St. Nicholas rises above, with tall spires and history you can feel as you walk by. Because Znojmo is not as famous as Prague or other big cities, it stays calm and real, a place where you can wander quiet streets, see real Czech life, and enjoy the gentle rhythm of a historic town. Znojmo is one of those secret places in Europe that most travelers never find, but once you see it, it stays in your heart. Number 9. High Tatras, Slovakia. Now we travel to a beautiful mountain range in northern Slovakia called the High Tatras. These are tall, rocky mountains that feel a bit like the Alps, but here you can enjoy the same dramatic views without as many crowds. The High Tatras are part of the Carpathian Mountains, and they have very tall peaks, cool mountain lakes, forests, and waterfalls. Some of the lakes are made by old glaciers, which means the water is clear and looks blue or green when the sun shines on it. In the High Tatras, you can see snow-topped mountains even in summer, and the air feels fresh and clean. There are many trails for hiking, walking, and exploring nature, so you can feel like you are on a real mountain adventure. Some parts of the High Tatras are inside a national park, which means the plants and animals are protected and stay wild. You might see mountain goats, marmots, or even birds of prey flying above while you walk. There are also quiet lakes near the mountains, like Štribské pleso and Poporedské pleso, where you can walk around the water and hear the wind in the trees. Most travelers think of big cities or famous ski resorts, but the High Tatras offers something different. Big, dramatic mountains, quiet nature, and lots of space to explore without crowds. Number 8. Krk Island, Croatia. Now we go to Krk Island, a big and beautiful island in Croatia that not many travelers think to visit, but it is full of real charm and quiet spots. Krk sits in the Adriatic Sea and is easy to reach because it is connected to the mainland by a big bridge you can drive over. When you arrive, you'll see pretty small towns, old stone streets, and peaceful beaches. The main town, Krk Town, has ancient walls and narrow alleys where you can walk and feel the history all around you. There are also many beaches on the island with clear blue water where you can swim, play, or relax in the sun. Some beaches are big and smooth, and some are tiny hidden coves you can only reach by walking or by boat. One small village called Verbnik sits high on a cliff over the sea. From there, you get beautiful views of the water and hills, and the town feels very peaceful and special. Krk also has green forests, quiet rural areas, and hiking paths if you like exploring nature. Because Krk is not as famous as some other Croatian islands, you can find calm places, real local life, and hidden beaches that most travelers miss. That's what makes it a true island escape, a place where you can enjoy sun, sea, and peace all in one. Number 7. The Książ Castle, Poland. Now we visit a huge and mysterious castle in the forests of Poland called Książ Castle. It is one of the largest castles in Poland, and it hides many stories from long ago and even a secret past. Kishange Castle was built a very long time ago in the 1200s on a high rocky hill deep inside thick green forests. When you see it, it looks big and strong, like something from a fairy tale. This castle has over 400 rooms, and for hundreds of years it was the home of rich families who lived, worked, and held big events there. But what makes Kishange even more interesting are the mysteries under the castle. During World War II, the Nazis took over the castle and began building huge underground tunnels and chambers below it. Everyone still doesn't know exactly why they built them. That part of history is still a mystery. Some people even think secret treasures or old machines could be hidden there. Today, parts of those tunnels can be visited on guided tours, and people come from all over the world to explore them. Some tunnels were left unfinished, so visitors can see deep underground where history was being written. When you walk around the castle above the ground, you see old stone walls, towers, and gardens, and you can feel how strong and grand the place is. Kishange Castle isn't just a building. It's like a time machine that takes you back to the Middle Ages, shows you secrets from the 1900s, and makes you wonder about its hidden past and underground mysteries. Number 6. Belgrade, Serbia. Now let's visit Belgrade, the capital and biggest city of Serbia, a place with history, energy, and real life everywhere you look. Belgrade sits where two big rivers, the Danube and the Sava, meet. Because of this, people have lived here for thousands of years, and many different cultures and empires have shaped the city. When you walk around Belgrade, you feel its chaotic energy. The streets are busy with people, cars, and bikes, and there is always something happening. Small markets, music in the distance, or people sitting at cafes watching the world go by. Belgrade has old history and modern life mixed together. You can explore ancient forts, big parks, old churches, and lively neighborhoods all in one day. One famous place is the Kalemegdan Fortress, which stands on a hill where you can see both rivers and the whole city below you. There's also the Church of Saint Sava, one of the biggest Orthodox churches in the world, and busy streets full of shops, cafes, and local food. Belgrade doesn't always feel like a typical tourist city. It's loud, real, and full of life. People say it's a place with authentic energy, where you can see how locals live, eat, and enjoy their city without big crowds of travelers around. Because many visitors still skip Belgrade for more famous European cities, it stays interesting and a bit raw. Not perfect, but very real and exciting to explore. Number 5. Kashubi, Poland. Now let's visit a beautiful region in northern Poland called Kashubi. Some people also say Kashubia. This place is full of lakes, green hills, forests, and real local culture that most travelers never find. Kashubi is known for hundreds of lakes everywhere you look and soft rolling hills that make the land look like a calm painting. You can walk or bike along quiet paths, listen to birds, and feel the fresh air on your face. People here are proud of being Kashubian, a group of people with their own language, stories, and old traditions passed down through families for many years. They make beautiful art, music, and local crafts that you won't see in big cities. There are also small villages where life moves slowly. You can visit places where people make things by hand, like pottery, and even learn about real Kashubian culture in open-air museums that show how families lived long ago. One of the coolest places here is Wdysze Kaszewski, a small village by a big lake where you can see old wooden houses and farms like they were hundreds of years ago. Kashubi has so many clear lakes that you can swim, fish, or just sit by the water and watch the sun reflect off the surface. Some people call the big lakes here the Kashubian Sea because they're so big and beautiful. Because Kashubi is far from big crowds and famous cities, it stays peaceful, real, and full of charm. A place where you can enjoy nature, learn about local traditions, and feel like you're discovering a hidden part of Europe that most travelers never see. Number 4. Wild Atlantic Way, Ireland. Now we travel to the Wild Atlantic Way, a truly epic stretch of coastline on the west side of Ireland. It's one of the longest coastal routes in the world, running about 2,500 kilometers from the very north in County Donegal all the way down to Kinsale in County Cork in the south. The Wild Atlantic Way is not just one place, it's a big road that hugs the wild Atlantic Ocean. Along the route, you find rugged cliffs that drop into the sea, wide sandy beaches, tiny fishing villages, and quiet bays where the water shines blue and green. As you travel this road, you can stop at secret beaches, hidden coves, and small Irish towns that feel peaceful and real. Places where locals still live their everyday lives and welcome visitors with warm smiles. Sometimes the waves crash hard against the rocks, and other times they gently lap at sandy shores that few people have walked on. You'll see sheep grazing on green hillsides, old stone walls, and small pubs where music and laughter fill the air. Because the Wild Atlantic Way covers such a huge area with hidden spots everywhere, many travelers never explore all of it. But if you take the time to go off the main roads, you'll find quiet beaches, little towns by the sea, and memories that stay with you forever. A true hidden gem of Europe waiting to be discovered. Number 3. Rastok, Croatia. Now we go to a magical little village in Croatia called Rastok, a place that looks like it's from a fairy tale because water flows all through the town. It is sometimes called the Small Plitvets because the rivers and waterfalls here remind people of the famous Plitvets lakes. Rastok sits where two rivers, the Slunčica and Korana, meet and mix together. The water does something amazing. It splits into many small streams and creates more than 20 little waterfalls right inside the village. This water flows past old wooden and stone houses, over natural rocks, and under small bridges. The sound of rushing water fills the air, and it feels like the village is alive with water everywhere. Long ago, people built water mills here, machines that used the power of the waterfalls to grind grain for food. Some of these old water mills are still standing, and they make Rastok feel like a place frozen in time. When you walk around, you'll see clear blue and green water, wooden walkways, and small waterfalls at every turn. It's like walking in a living picture, peaceful and full of natural beauty. Because Rastok is smaller and quieter than big tourist spots, most travelers miss it. But those who find it often say it is one of the most beautiful hidden places in Europe. Number 2. Lastovo Island, Croatia. Now we go to a very special and quiet island in Croatia called Lastovo. This island is far from big cities and busy tourist spots, so it feels calm, untouched, and real, like a secret place just waiting to be discovered. Lastovo is part of a group of 46 islands in the Adriatic Sea, and most of the land here is covered in nature. Forests, hills, and crystal-clear sea all around. The beaches and small coves here are usually quiet and natural, with water that looks blue and green. Many of these spots are hidden, so you might walk along a quiet beach without seeing many other people. Because there aren't many lights or big towns, the night sky here is amazing. At night, you can look up and see so many stars that it feels like someone painted them across the sky. That's why people who love nature say Lastovo has some of the best stargazing in Europe. There are small villages on the island with old stone houses and quiet streets where people live simply and enjoy the slow pace of life. Most travelers don't make it here because the island is remote and only reachable by ferry, but that's also what makes it so special. Out here, you can relax on quiet beaches, explore hidden bays, and sleep under a sky full of stars, far away from big crowds and noise. Lastovo feels like a peaceful escape into nature, a place where time slows down and you can truly enjoy the beauty around you, a hidden paradise in Europe. Number 1. Secret nature villages across Europe, Montenegro. Now we reach the number 1 hidden spot on our list, real secret villages across Europe where locals still outnumber tourists and life feels real, calm, and unchanged. Instead of big tourist crowds, villages like Perast in Montenegro give you a chance to see how people really live in small places by the sea, with old stone houses and quiet lanes that hardly any travelers discover. In many corners of Europe, from the mountain villages of Serbia and Greece to the countryside of Bulgaria and the Balkans, there are tiny towns with forests, rivers, and fields all around where life moves slowly and you feel like part of the community, not just a visitor. Some of these villages have old traditions, local music, and small markets where everyone knows each other and time seems to move more slowly. You might see people working in fields, carving wood, or making local food, just like families have done for generations. Because these places don't have big hotels or tour buses, you can walk quiet streets, breathe fresh air, and enjoy nature without noise. You might sit by a river, watch sunlight shimmer through the trees, or listen to birds sing, moments that feel rare and special. This is why these secret nature villages across Europe are truly hidden. Most travelers never think to visit them. But if you go, you'll find real life, real people, and real beauty, not just famous sights. That's what makes them the most authentic, peaceful, and unforgettable places on this whole list. Wow, what a journey! We just explored 30 of Europe's most hidden and amazing places, from quiet mountain villages to secret beaches and historic towns most people never see. These places are special because they are real, calm, and full of life that feels natural. Not the busy, crowded spots everyone knows, but the secret corners that make traveling unforgettable. If you enjoyed this adventure, please hit that like button. It tells me you want more videos like this. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss future journeys to hidden gems all around the world. Also, tell me in the comments which hidden place you want to visit first. I read every comment, and your answer might even inspire the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.